doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart.
Hi guys, welcome to my next video. I hope you are doing well. First of all, I want to say sorry for the background noises, but I'm making some distilled water in the machine, so it's gonna be a background noise, so sorry about that, but I hope you can hear me well. In today's video I will tell you all about my training back in Hahn in Germany. I know that there are a lot of people now applying to Ryanair, or they are during the training in Hahn, so I hope you can find this video helpful in some way. I was checking last night all my emails, like all the emails with the agency that I was hired by Crueling. So I checked how much I had to pay for my accommodation, stuff like this. So maybe I will start with that. Before I went there, I had to obviously got all the references needed from my school, from previous jobs if I had any, and then of course if I submitted all the documents I could go ahead with my accommodation, and the accommodation was one of the local hotels in Hahn. It costed me, well, my parents, because my parents covered that for me, it was 700 euros for 6 weeks, and it was with all my group that I was during the training. There were many groups, they were in the different hotels, but our group was in this particular hotel, and we had to pay 700 euros. I'm not sure about the other hotels because I never asked, but it's 700 euros, and you used to have to pay 400 euros like a deposit, and then when you arrive to Germany to the hotel you would pay another 300 as a, you know, the rest of it. Basically you could pay it all online at the same time, but you know, just to make sure that it's not a scam or something like this, they could let you pay half. And also, before you would arrive to Hahn or wherever you do your training, you need to have the medical certificate. I know some of the people did it in Hahn or somewhere around the Hahn. There was some doctor that I was actually doing the aviation, because it needs to be a specific cabin crew medical report. I did it in Ireland before I left to Hahn. So it was by Irish Aviation Authority. I can show you here. So this is more or less how it looks like, and then it says here if I am fit to work or unfit, so it was fit here, and then recommendations was just because I am wearing glasses, so in here was saying that I need to wear glasses, or it says here shall wear corrective lenses and carry a spare set of spectacles. That was the advice of my doctor. And then I did this certificate 22nd of October 2018, and it's still actually valid. It's valid until 22nd of October 2023. So if I was still working in aviation, I would have to renew it in 2 years from now. So it's valid for 4 years. So ideally would be great if you have it done before you go for your training in Hahn, but again, I saw some people doing that during the training. It was a bit stressful for them, so I would advise you to do it before the training. The cost of it really varied, like it's just random. I paid for it, I think 150 euros. I know some of in Germany, I remember some people were doing it in Berlin when I was already based there. And some people paid 80 euros, just I think depends, maybe from the city, from the doctor, I have no idea. But what you usually do on this kind of medical examination, checking your eyes, your legs, I'm not sure if, no, I didn't get the blood work done, I did the urine test, so that's what I done, like if I'm taking any, you know, any substances, they had to check it, all of that. So basically, like, you know, they check everything from your head to your toes, and then they say you're fit or unfit. So that's basically it. Nothing scary if you have nothing to worry about. When I arrived to Hahn, it was late at night, and it wasn't just like a simple flight Dublin to Hahn, because we had to go through Tenerife. So I met up with some people that I met online, that we were chatting on Facebook, that who's going to the training to Hahn and that date. So I actually met some friends, colleagues online, and we met at the airport, and then we flown from Dublin to Tenerife, and then Tenerife Hahn. We arrived in Hahn very late. It was like, I'm not really sure, but it was late. We checked into the hotel. We had to pay the rest of the money that we owned the hotel, and then it wasn't actually like the hotel had two buildings. So the first building was like a main building, and like normal guests were staying there, and our building was maybe 5 minutes away by feet. It was like cabin crew building, so there was a kitchen, a very small kitchen, and it was like 32 people, I think, in my training group. So all 32 of us lived there, shared one kitchen, one living room. We had only, I think, 3 fridges. Then they had to bring, of course, more of them because it was just not enough. But at this point, when I look back, it was fun. Maybe I was complaining back then. I wasn't happy, but back then was if I look now, it was much fun, and I would repeat it if needed, because it was so much fun and I enjoyed it very, very much. But then when we arrived, I think we had a couple of days to ourselves just to unpack, do some grocery shoppings. And another thing, grocery shoppings in Hahn, it's a trip, it's a big adventure, because if you wanted like a shuttle bus from a hotel, you would have to call it. They would come and pick you up maybe in 40 minutes or longer, depends if they are busy or not. And then you had to pay them, I think, €3 or €2 per trip. So if they gonna bring you to the shop, which was Lidl, or it's a German shop called Edeka, it would be €3 just to go there. And it was like by feet, if you wanted to go, it was maybe 40 minutes to get there. So obviously half of the people from my training course wanted to save some money, and we were going by feet. It was such an adventure, guys. It was always an adventure. I remember once it was snowing a lot, and I was there in the middle of nowhere, obviously, with my torch, because it was so dark, there was not even street lamps, and I had an iPhone, and there was an issue with my iPhone that when it was getting very cold, my iPhone would switch off. So I was in the middle of literally a field, and my iPhone switched off with my torch, and then good luck. I just had to make it in darkness, but I made it. And looking back again, it was such a fun, and I would do it again if needed. But then we started the course. Each day we were starting maybe at 8:30 or 9, I'm not sure, and then we would end at 4, 5. It just depends if we had a lot to cover that day. I used to have a timetable here with my with my classes, but I threw it away. I don't know why, but I threw it away not so long ago after I resigned. So we would start every single day, 8 or 9, and until 4 or 5. Then we had some practical stuff to do. So we had like mock-up cabin, so it was like half of the airplane. If I have pictures, I will be putting pictures for you in here. It was like half of an airplane, and we would practice there like emergency drills and stuff like this. So obviously if you would practice that, it would be way longer, because it was like 5 or 4 groups with us as well, so they all wanted to practice that day as well. So some of the days were longer. And then what was funny, and at the end of the day, we would call our bus to come and pick us up, the hotel bus. And this was so funny, because the bus would could also only take like 8 people at a time, and there was only 2 buses. So when the bus arrived, all the people were like going into each other just to get into the bus as a first, because each hour was very we had to we finished our training like at 5, 6. Then we still had to study back at the hotel for tomorrow, for the day after. And people wanted to get home as soon as possible, so they would go literally into each other just to get into the bus. So that was crazy and wild as well. There was also I saw a video. We had like a group chat of our training course, and there was a video of us trying to get into the bus, I remember, but I'm not sure where to find it anymore. I don't think it's out there anymore, but it was so funny to see us like trying to get into the bus, all of us. But it was funny, and again, I would do it again if necessary, because it was just something else, you know, like a new adventure. Then obviously we had a swimming exam one day, so we would have to wake up extra early, like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, because it was like a normal swimming pool that other people would use. So we would have to get there before somebody else gets there, before they are opening. So we would do the swimming exam as well. It was one of my fears, the swimming exam, because last time I was swimming before the training was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I wasn't sure if I can still swim and stuff like this. But I made it. It was not so bad. We had the life jackets, you know, we had to save our colleagues as well, so it was very funny, and again a big adventure. And so you have to, unfortunately, need to swim. So if you don't remember how to do it, or you just don't know how to do it, you need to learn it before you go for your training course. And then at the end, after 6 weeks, obviously we've got the graduation ceremony. So that was, you know, like something out of my dreams, because after each exam I was writing. For some reason I didn't believe in myself. I was like, oh, for sure I will not pass, stuff like this. And then after one of the exams, if I passed, I was allowed to go home, because I had like 3 or 4 days off. And I just bought a ticket without knowing if I'm gonna pass the exam or not. So I just bought a ticket, and I was like, if I don't pass, I'm just gonna waste some money, because I will not be able to go home, because I will have to repeat the exam the next day. But fortunately I passed all the exams. Sometimes we had like kind of smaller tests. Each morning we would come over to the classroom. We would like have a small test just to repeat what we've learned the other day. I didn't pass it always, and that wasn't necessary to pass it, but it was good if you passed it. But sometimes the topic was so hard that you couldn't just do it in one day, so a lot of people were not passing, but that's fine. That's why the smaller tests were there, to help you with the bigger ones. So all the big tests I passed. I remember there was one test that if you passed 100%, you would get like a candy or something like this, and I actually passed 100%. There was not many of us that passed it 100%. So I was so proud of myself, because it was also not that I didn't know English language, because I just finished high school in Ireland. But you know, it was still a challenge for me somehow, and there was so many new words to learn as well, like about the evacuation. Some of the words were so new to me that, you know, I was like, oh my god, how I'm gonna do it? But I managed, and the exams were like, I wouldn't say they were easy, but if you were really preparing and actually studying, you would make it. I remember after each day, or before like bigger exams, we would sit in the living room and we would study, like all of us, and it was such a nice view, because it was like a motivation for me, seeing other people studying. So I would study yeah, the whole training was about studying. It was at some point tiring. I have some videos actually on my YouTube channel there from Hahn. So if you want to have a look, I was recording like, you know, all my surroundings and stuff, so you can have a look, because sometimes I go back to those videos myself, because I like to go back to those times actually, even though I wasn't happy at that time in there on the training, because it was obviously hard. But now I like to go back to those stuff. Again, if you are a cabin crew or a future cabin crew that's gonna be doing the training course in Hahn, you can always leave a comment below, and I will try to help you with any queries you have. I would say I could help you with the accommodation as well if needed, because I know some websites as well. I know some local hotels and stuff, so if you have any questions, just drop them down. But continuing with the training course, after a successful 6 weeks, we would get a certificate. I'm just covering my surname here. We would get a certificate here, Boeing 737-800 series. Some of the people that were based in Dublin, but it was none of our groups, they had to also have a training for Boeing 737-700 because they have one Boeing 737-700 in Dublin, and sometimes some of the crew would operate on this Boeing. So some of the crew based in Dublin would have to have additional training, but there's not much difference. The airplane is smaller, so there are just some of the stuff, they are just changed a little bit, but there wouldn't be much of a study. And now obviously Boeing 737 MAX coming in. I have a certificate for the Boeing MAX as well, but I think it was online. I don't think I can access that anymore. I also had it done, so I was qualified to work on 2 airplanes, 800 and 737 MAX. But it never happened. We still don't have any MAXes in our base as far as I'm aware. And now, as far as I'm aware, there's a lot of people resigning. At least I met with my colleague not so long ago, and she said to me that at least 5 people every single week resign, and that's a big number. Like they are actually desperate now to look for some people. So if you're interested, go ahead and apply. But before I finish this video, I also have one more historic paper in here. When you're gonna start flying after your training, you will have flights, so-called supernumerary flights. So you're gonna get a piece of paper like this, and you're gonna get you need to put your name, your crew code, because you're gonna get your crew code as well. Usually it's 4 letters, first 4 letters of your surname, and then two first letters of your name. And then you need to put the base, which were you based, and I was doing my supernumeraries out of Berlin Schönefeld, which is not there anymore. But back in there was Berlin Schönefeld, Berlin Tegel, so I was based in Berlin Schönefeld. So the code of the airport was SXF, and then my position was junior and then new, because I was obviously new. And then I had how many days of supernumeraries? Let me check. It's such a historical paper that it's already like coming apart, so I have to be careful with that. I had only 3 days of supernumeraries, and whereas right now I think it's 5 days, as far as some other colleagues told me, and they are not paid. Those days are not paid, unfortunately. You do it for free. But it's all about learning. You need to ask your cabin manager or other junior crew as much question as you need, as you want, just to get those, get this knowledge right. Because after those 5 days, or as in my case 3 days, you would be on your own. You would be a normal junior cabin crew, and you would need to do stuff on your own. So during those supernumeraries, it's time to to ask those questions. But first day here, for example, I did how many sectors did I do? I just did 2 sectors, I think. So flight, Berlin and London and back, for example. And on the first day, I had to participate in pre-flight safety briefing. So if I participated, I just got a tick that I did it. Then I had to do the pre-departure inspection of equipment, so check all the equipment on board if it's operational and stuff like this. Then boarding of passengers, so I had to welcome passengers on board. Marshalling of passengers, I don't know if you're if you're familiar what's marshalling of passengers. It's basically when you go down the stairs and you stand at the wing or somewhere close to the aircraft, and you just direct the passengers where they should go. So that is called marshalling of passengers, and stuff like this. Actually, I just got the idea in my head. I will do a separate video about all those stuff in here. So for example, I will explain to you opening and closing of aircraft doors inside, or opening and closing of L2 door from outside. I will make a separate video explaining you all those terms. So hopefully if you are going to apply, or if you are a new cabin crew as well, maybe I will be able to help you in explaining those terms. And then after each day, my cabin supervisor, cabin manager was supposed to write something about me, what I did right, what I did wrong, what I have to work on. So for example, on my first day, very good grooming, so my uniform was on point. Proactive during the day, then very good safety knowledge, for example. Then I didn't get any comments on my day 2. Actually, I did 4 days. It says here 4 days. Then on the comments on the day 3, I had very nice safety demo. Need to do 2 more sectors, because one of my supernumerary flights, there was I had a cancelled flight, so I didn't do as many sectors as I should have done. So I had to do 1 more extra day of supernumerary. That's why I did 4. But that's again. I actually had I just got this idea into my head. I will explain all those terms to you. There will be also location of smoke detectors, location of crash X. We're gonna speak about it all in the next video. I will explain to you what everything is and how it works. But this video I just wanted to do about the Hahn training and stuff like this. So again, if you're a cabin crew going to Hahn, if you need any help, just leave a comment and I'll be able to help you. And again, if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you still didn't subscribe. And I need to say thank you so much for all those subscribers coming in. I did not expect to reach already 300, and it's a big number for me. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!